Now, I told you about the famous Card-Kruger study that purported to show that when a state like New Jersey raised the minimum wage and Pennsylvania right next door did not, New Jersey actually benefited from that. And then when researchers tried to replicate the results, they couldn't do it. One of the economists, the co-chair of the Card-Kruger study, recently died. Kruger. And even he was very skeptical about a $15 minimum wage because it's a 100% increase in the minimum wage. In the New Jersey-Pennsylvania deal, New Jersey increased the minimum wage just 20%. Even he was skeptical that an economy could absorb a 100% increase in the minimum wage. But beyond that, do you know that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez worked in a bar before she became a congressperson? Everybody knows that. The bar she worked at was in Union Square in New York. It's called the Coffee Shop. Very popular. How popular? A-list celebrities used to go there. You know that show called Sex and the City that I know you watch, binge watch? Well, a lot of the actors would come to that coffee shop. That's how popular it was. Well, shortly after AOC won her primary, remember that upset primary she won against that longtime Democrat? The restaurant where she used to work announced they were going to shut down. And on their final day, AOC swings by to reminisce with the staff with whom she used to work. Now, the co-owner of the restaurant, I kid you not, stated the principal reason why he was shutting down the restaurant was because New York was going to a $15 minimum wage. AOC swung by there to say goodbye to everybody. The irony apparently was lost on her. Here, her former boss is saying, I'm going out of business because New York has imposed a $15 minimum wage. I can't afford it. We're going out of business. And she now wants to impose a $15 minimum wage on all businesses in America. Stunning. Almost as stunning as Acorn. I told you about this. Acorn comes out to California. This is in the 90s. And they want to get the California minimum wage increased. So they want to put on a ballot initiative so voters can vote to do that. Now, as you know from following the recall election of Governor Gavin Newsom, it's very, very difficult to get the money to raise the necessary signatures because you have to raise more because some of the signatures are going to be bogus. They're going to be challenged. It's really, really hard to get on a ballot initiative because of the expense it takes to raise the money, to hire people, to get the signatures. So Acorn comes here to do just that. Acorn filed a brief with the California courts to exempt itself from the then minimum wage requirements because in their brief, Acorn said, and I'm quoting, the more Acorn must pay individual outreach workers, either because of minimum wage laws or overtime, the fewer outreach workers Acorn will be able to hire, end of quote. You cannot make that up. Acorn is admitting the higher the minimum wage, the fewer workers we're going to be able to hire. Can you exempt us from that requirement that we're going to impose on other people? It drives you nuts. AOC goes by the restaurant where she used to work. Boss is closing because of the minimum wage. And it never occurred to her, I've been advocating a minimum wage. I've been suggesting that employers are able to absorb the cost. And here this guy is I used to work for, and he's closing it down because of the $15 New York minimum wage? Maybe, just maybe, I ought to rethink this. No! And what about Jonathan Gruber?
And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
That's Jonathan Gruber bragging about how Romney Care in Massachusetts was able to work. The only way it was able to work is because some smart people have been able to figure out a way of ripping off the federal government to the tune of $400 million to make the thing work.
And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
Basically, that was really critical to get the thing to pass. In other words, our healthcare system that we've imposed here in Massachusetts is not fundable. We can't run it efficiently. We're going to get money from the other 49 states to make the thing work, close quote, as he put it. And don't forget, he also said we took advantage of the stupidity of the American people.
And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
We took advantage of the stupidity of the American people. Some smart people in Massachusetts have been able to figure out a way of ripping off the government to the tune of $400 million to make the thing work. End of quote. Stunning. Stunning. And still they do this. Healthcare, said Joe Biden, is a right. It's a right. Where's it say that?